Hi, this video discusses the solar panel modifications I've made to my travel trailer and why. One of the great things about a travel trailer and RVs in general is their ability to go off-grid for several days at a time, giving you the freedom to camp just about anywhere. Before talking about solar, it's probably best to start with a discussion of power, batteries, and how they affect your camping experience and the amount of time you can spend off-grid. There are lots of ways to measure and assess electrical power, but for this video, I'm going to focus on watt hours, which expresses amounts of power expended over a period of time. For example, if your electrical system has 1,000 watt hours of capacity, you could run a load, say a 100 watt light bulb for 10 hours. Our travel trailer came from the dealer with 2 lead-acid batteries, which together have a capacity rating of around 1,200 watt hours. Now, how much of that power is used during a camping adventure can vary widely. When you're off-grid, at a minimum your RV will use lights and a water pump. If it gets cold, you'll run your propane furnace, which requires electricity. If you want to run some AC appliances, like a microwave oven, a hairdryer, cell phone, and computer charges, and you have an inverter, you're going to use even more electricity. Most refrigerators, at least in an RV, can run off of propane, so they don't generally fit into the electrical power equation when camping off-grid. Air conditioning units consume so much power, like 1,300 watt hours, that you generally only run them when you're connected to shore power or a gas generator. So the bottom line here, for the style of camping we do, our average power consumption over a 24-hour period is around 1,000 watt hours. So before addressing solar, the first thing to consider is capacity, and that means looking at batteries. The 2 lead-acid batteries that came with the trailer would allow us to camp for just over 1 day before needing to be recharged. The trailer comes with fresh water and waste tanks that allow us to camp off-grid for over a week, so addressing the electrical power limitations was the obvious place to start. Fortunately for me, the quest for electric vehicles has brought about great changes to battery technology. For the same space and weight, I can replace those 2 lead-acid batteries with their 1,200 watt hour capacity with lithium iron phosphate batteries that bring about 7,000 watt hours of capacity. This kind of power capacity gives me the freedom to camp off-grid for over a week at a time without having to recharge the batteries. As most people will tell you, lithium batteries do cost more, about 3 times more than lead-acid batteries. But for many RV applications, they will also last 3 times longer. To save money, I decided to build my own lithium batteries. I bought raw cells from China and added computer circuit boards that protect those cells and my investment. So we're finally ready to start talking about solar panels in RVs. Someone once said, with great power comes great recharging responsibility. So having 7,000 watt hours of electrical battery capacity is great, but how and when do you recharge these monsters? Solar panels are often one part of the recharging portfolio of the devices that I use. If I'm hooked to shore power, my 840 watt hour AC charger can do the job in about 8 to 10 hours. If I'm towing the trailer behind my F-250, my 840 watt hour DC to DC charger can also completely recharge the batteries in about the same 8 to 10 hours. Solar gives me the option to recharge the batteries when there are no other power sources available. There are lots of ways of adding solar panels to an RV or trailer, and many systems permanently mount these panels, several panels, to the motorhome or trailer's roof. My trailer's roof is only 22 feet long and it is filled with vents and skylights and an AC unit, so I didn't have a ton of room to work with. And as many RVers will tell you, you often camp in the mountains or in forests, and so your roof and the rooftop solar panels may not see much sunlight. To address those two limitations, I decided on using portable solar panels. Mounted permanently in the trailer is a solar charge controller, which I use to connect to a set of portable suitcase configured solar panels. I have a 50-foot extension cord which allows me to set up these panels in a location with the best all-day sunlight. I currently have 4 100-watt solar panels, so during a typical day I can generate around 1,500 watt-hours of power, which I could use to fully recharge my trailer batteries in about 5 days. This current configuration more or less matches my 1,000 watt-hour usage pattern, so in theory I could have electricity in an off-grid situation indefinitely. So there you have it. That's what I have with regards to solar and why I did it for my travel trailer.